What's up, everybody? Doc Dark 1985. There's levels to this. All right, so let's talk about Crysis. We're going to talk about Crysis 1, and we're going to talk about Crysis 2. I have not played Crysis 3 yet. But these two games, what they have done, I'm going to tell you what they did not do. Yeah, let's do that first. They did not disappoint at all. If you're even thinking about playing them, if you're thinking about getting them, let's say you see a deal, I highly recommend that you go ahead and get these two games. I had a really good time with them. I put them in the category of amazing. Now, I'll be honest with you. When it comes to video games, I either like the game or I don't for the most part. It's very rare that you'll find me say that a game was all right. Okay. And the reason is because I'm investing time in these games. So if I invest time in a video game and the game turns out to just be okay, then to me the game is garbage. Because there better be a really good reason why I'm playing this video game, and it better be entertaining, and it better be engaging. But Crysis 1 and Crysis 2, they have me wanting to play Crysis 3. So it's like you ever played a video game, right? And then you finish playing it and you know there's a second to that game, but you're not even sure you want to play it. You're just kind of like, okay, now I got to play it just because I know there's a second one. Crysis is not like that. When you play Crysis 1 and you beat it, you're going to want to play Crysis 2. And right now we're in 2019. I'm playing them on PC. The games look amazing. These games look amazing. And because they're older games, and right now you probably have newer hardware, it runs it runs beautiful. I mean, really smooth, easily getting above 60 frames per second on my PC and having a lot of fun playing these games. Now I'm about to play Crysis 3. So what does Crysis do? Why is Crysis so good? I don't really know. I don't really know why it's so good. So let's try to break everything down, I guess. So first thing is visuals, right? How does the game look? Especially Crysis 1. If your PC is strong enough, Crysis 1 will looks very good. It has a very distinct look. I'm not saying it's the best looking game out there. It's not, but it looks really good, and the way that you can interact with the environment, for me at least, it was the first time I ever had a game that could do that. Like you could literally shoot down every tree if you wanted to. Like every single tree, all the objects, everything moves. If it looks like you could touch it, like you could break it, it looks like you could shoot it. And it wouldn't just be as simple as bullet holes. Like no, like you could mess stuff up. And that's pretty good attention to detail. Okay. So the visuals of Crysis 1, beautiful. The scenario too, I think is great. You're on this island, so they get to play around with a lot of different things. They get to play around with let's see, what do they do? They get to play around with, the water, the forest area. There's this one area where it gets cold and there's actually snow on the island and stuff. Like they did a really good job with the visual of that game. One point you're actually flying a ship, and yeah, you're flying on a you're like flying a aircraft, and the controls on that sequence are a little bit weird, but the game still looks beautiful. Then you end up and you're on an actual battleship. That's pretty dope. You're running through like the battle. I mean, the visuals of Crysis 1 are amazing. Everyone should play it. It's a classic game. I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard the what's that phrase that PC gamers say, or they used to say, "Can it run Crysis?" And it's because the game looks so good, it would destroy your freaking your hardware, whatever you had. Most people couldn't run it. So again, Crysis 1, visuals amazing. Now let's talk about Crysis 2 and the visuals. Crysis 2 visuals, different scenario. The game is based. I don't want to say that it's more linear, but it kind of is a little bit more linear. So it's not like a open island like you could play in Crysis, but the game still looks beautiful. Still looks amazing. The graphics are incredible. The animations are smooth. Same thing to older games. So most PC hardware nowadays can run it perfectly fine. So you're gonna be playing at 60 frames per second. Get the game. Looks amazing. Looks beautiful. Right. Let's go to sound. Right. So Crysis One, sound is really good. Right. The guns sound punchy. Voice acting is not the greatest, but it gets the job done and keeps you engaged. The story keeps you engaged, and I mean the scenarios when you're walking in, you can hear forests, you can hear like birds chirping and stuff. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Crysis 2. I literally just mentioned Crysis 2, and I can hear the song in my head. It is amazing. The music that they used in Crysis 2 sets the tone. And after you're done, so here's the thing, right? When you play Crysis 1 and you use, when we'll talk about the gameplay, but you use everything to your disposal, when you're done with that game, you feel like a bad, I don't want to curse, but you feel like a bad, mm, okay? So when Crysis 2 starts and it's like the camera zooms in and you just see the suit and there's this music and it's like boom, oh my god, if you know exactly what I'm talking about right now, me saying that, you can hear the music in your head and you know exactly what I'm talking about, and just it just gives the game with such a different sound. It is probably, I would have to think really hard of a game that sets the mood better with music than Crysis 2. I don't know if there is a game out there. But same thing when it comes to gun sounds. The guns sound perfect. Explosions sound good. Voice acting is a little bit better in Crysis 2 than it is in Crysis 1. And now I think it's a lot better because you hear a lot more from Prophet, which is pretty good. All right, so we got visuals great, sound is great. What do we want to go to? Story. All right, let's go to story. So Crysis 1, you land on this island and you're supposed to do, it's like, so it's supposed to be like a rescue mission, but then you learn that it's not quite what, everything's not quite what it seems, and there's weird stuff that's going on the island that doesn't make sense. So you go through, and when you get to the end, you finally realize exactly what it is. But the story is good enough to keep you engaged, to want to keep knowing to want to keep playing. And let me tell you, that's huge, guys, because the worst thing is when you're playing a game and the story is not engaging, right? And sometimes we'll play these games and the story is not engaging and you don't even want to keep playing it. You just want to turn it off and play a different game or do something else. But in Crysis 1, when you're playing it, you're gonna want to keep playing it. And like I said, the story is good enough to keep you engaged to find out what's happening. Plus, you're trying to meet up with Prophet. So I'll tell you a little bit there. You split off with Prophet, so you're not actually playing as Prophet. I don't know if you know that or not. You're not Prophet in the first one, and then yeah, I guess we could talk about the second one here in a little bit. So once Crysis 1 is done, right? It kind of, it's like you won, but not really. It's almost like you knew they had to make a 2, right? And when 2 begins, because you have played 1 and you know how you were, with 1, when 2 begins, man, you just feel, it's weird to say, but I'm gonna say it, you feel confident. It's almost like you believe you yourself are wearing this nano suit because you just played Crysis 1. You just wreaked havoc on a whole bunch of freaking aliens and freaking Seth or the Sith, whatever they're called. And actually in Crysis 1, you're fighting, I think you're fighting Koreans. I'm not sure. Can't remember. But anyways, yeah, I think yeah, you're fighting some type of Asians. I think is that you're fighting in Crisis One. But anyways, so once you're done with Crisis One and you know everything that you can do, when Crisis Two begins, the controls are a little bit different. But once you get into the controls and you know like you know who you are, like you're a freaking marine in a nano suit. Oh yeah, you think you're the baddest mama jamma on the planet, and it translate with the gameplay because you'll play like you're wearing that nano suit. Like it's pretty awesome the way they immerse you into the game. They did they did a great job. They did a great job. The story of Crisis 2 is a little bit more straightforward because now there's no secret. You know that the aliens are here. If Crisis 1, at first you're trying to figure out what these things are, and then once you finally see them, they're actually pretty scary. Like it's like when it was there's a huge difference, you know, when you're fighting an alien and when you're fighting another human. Like you could tell, you could feel the what's the word I'm looking for? The the urgency. You can feel the urgency. Like it feels like the aliens could do more damage to you than the humans can. And in Crisis 2, the same thing happens. The only difference is that from the beginning, you know that there's aliens around. So you're constantly waiting to see, okay, when are these aliens gonna pop up? Because you know this is what the game's about. And man, they do not disappoint, man. When it comes to like the character designs, the different types of aliens that you gotta fight, the difficulty of them. I mean, they did not disappoint. It's almost like they had. Now, obviously, I played it on normal. I don't gotta play it on super difficult. I got nothing to prove to anybody. I don't want to play it on easy either because it's to me that's just I don't know. I feel like you miss out on something. So I played it on normal, and let me tell you, it's like they had the perfect balance of difficulty. I died from time to time, but never once did I feel like it was impossible, or never once did I feel like I won a battle because of luck. If I lost, it's because I didn't use the nano suit or the character to the best of his ability. And if I won, then it's because I used it to the best of his abilities. And then there were sections where I completely dominated, where it was almost like a puzzle, and I used everything the way I was supposed to perfectly. Same thing with Crisis One, because that nano suit, what you could do with that nano suit is pretty amazing. Like you could pick up your armor, you could increase speed, you could cloak. I mean, cloaking is huge. I remember in Crisis One, I was winning this one firefight in the forest, and it just looked like I was completely outnumbered. There was no way, and I just started shooting, ducking, cloaking, sniping, throw grenades, come back out, run away, like almost like leave the whole forest area. They'd be confused, come back in, cloak again, stab people, shoot. Like it was, I could only imagine what it must have felt like to be them in that environment in a forest. Because at first, when I got in there, at first I was scared, right? Now look, man, I'm gonna tell you right now. If you're not a video gamer and you're listening to this, it's gonna sound crazy. And be like, you playing a video game, you're that into it. Yes, there's levels to this. There's levels to this. Some of us get into these games and really escape. That's the whole point. So when I tell you I was in a forest on an island fighting against soldiers, I was really doing that. I was really doing it. I know no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's nothing you can tell me. That's like when I was in eighth grade or seventh grade and you told me that wrestling was fake. No, it wasn't. It was real. Okay? But anyways, I digress. So the abilities that you have, like, just makes the story of the game and everything that much better. So Crisis 2, same thing. The story's a little bit more linear. It does have a plot twist in it. Plot twist that was a little confusing, but still good. But the ending of Crisis 2 brought everything together, and oh man, let me tell you. So my favorite video game character so far is Joanna Dark. Okay, if you guys don't know who that is, you should look it up. It's this game called Perfect Dark. They actually got it remastered on Xbox One. It's part of the Rare Replay Pack. It's called Perfect Dark. They actually got a few Perfect Dark games. Yeah, they got Perfect Dark Zero. I think they got a third one. But the first Perfect Dark that came off of the Nintendo 64, she was my favorite my favorite video game character, hands hands down. The way they developed her story and everything, I just really liked it. I just really liked it. And she was bad, man. Her name was Perfect Dark because she scored a perfect on all her tests to being a spy and everything. So it was pretty dope. But anyways, um, Crisis 2, okay, at the end, when you realize who Prophet is or what Prophet is, like the idea of Prophet, man, I'm really excited to play Crisis 3 and hopefully, hopefully they kept it the same. Hopefully they build on what was left off in Crisis 2 because now I'm fully invested. I drank that Kool-Aid. I want to see what this turns into. Okay, so Prophet is, depending on how Crisis 3 ends, it will be pretty close to Joanna. Now, Joanna did it in one game, but obviously that's part of the nostalgia too. You know, when you play video games when you're younger, there's certain things that you're just gonna, you're just gonna like just because the way it makes you feel and it takes you back to a place. It's like listening to old music, right? But anyways, so now let's talk about the gameplay, okay? Because gameplay is huge when it comes to video games, right? In Crisis 1, there is a small learning curve, especially if you're going to play it now, because it doesn't play like regular first person shooters. It doesn't. But once you get a hang of it, and if you're one of these people that typically plays a game and that's the game you're playing, you'll be fine. If you're someone that plays Crisis and then you try to play like Call of Duty as well while you're playing the story of Crisis, it's not gonna go well. I don't even know how people do that, but some people will play two different video games simultaneously. Like, I feel like playing this one. I feel like playing that one now. That's like watching two movies simultaneously and hoping that you don't mix the plot. But regardless, with Crisis, if you play it completely, then you'll get eventually you get used to the controls and it handles perfectly fine. Like you get used to the controls and you'll become a killing machine in that game and you'll feel like a dude wearing a freaking futuristic nano suit, something that we probably shouldn't even have. Okay. Now, Crisis 2 has a lot more traditional controls and they streamline certain things. So some of the things like in Crisis 1, like you'd be in a firefight and you would try to cloak, it was a little bit more difficult in my opinion to actually do that because you'd be, nervous and stuff. You're trying to, next thing you know, you're dead. But in Crisis 2, they streamlined it, especially if you play on a controller. So for instance, the cloak is the top right bumper, right? So literally all it is if you got energy, you're in the middle of a firefight, get behind a wall or building, boom, cloak, doing you good, right? Come back out, shoot, whatever. Left bumper is to bring your armor up, and then to sprint is just the regular sprint button. So you know how you push on the joystick down and it makes the character sprint. So they streamlined it. It made being powerful a lot more easier. But don't get it wrong, don't get it twisted. You will still die in that game, and the enemies still give you a challenge with all that at your disposal. The fact that you could up your armor but with a button, and the fact that you could literally disappear, you could cloak with the touch of a button. Okay, but still, the game's pretty difficult. The gameplay, though, like I said, is amazing. It's fast paced. There's a lot of action. Never are you bored. There's plenty of times where you're in suspense. You're at the edge of your seat. You want to keep moving forward. You want to keep going. If I don't know how they did it. So Crisis 1, I remember Crisis 1, I felt a lot more fear playing that game because it's just so big. Like the island is massive and sometimes you can literally be shooting one. This is one mission in Crisis 1 where you got to get across to this other side and it's literally like a drawbridge, like a straw bridge or something, like a little small bridge, like the Indiana Jones bridge. And you got to get across this bridge and there's like heavy guns from this side, heavy guns from this side, and then there's a helicopter flying above. And you in that mission, you're literally like, I'm not gonna make it across this bridge. Or at least, you're gonna make it across the bridge and then you gotta heal right away. I mean you gotta find cover, something, you gotta get clever. And I remember dying on that bridge probably like 5 times before finally I got across one and I realized like, okay, I gotta hit the people that obviously see me, that saw me. So I gotta cross, the bridge, made turn to the left. I got in the same place where that dude was with the turret, killed him, and then now there was only one point of entry, which was where I was with that guy with the turret. So I just stayed there until I healed, and I could hear them all coming, and it was just like, okay, here we go. I either cloak out of here and sneak out, or I armor it up, which I think I just armored it up and just went out there and just started blasting, running, and then I made it. And then I made it. Oh, another thing too, like the game does a really good job about ammo because you never have an abundance of ammo. It's almost like you're always looking like, man, am I gonna need to switch guns? So it makes you have to switch guns. You have to take another enemy's gun, even though you got a gun that you love, that you really like. You're gonna have to switch guns because you're gonna run out of ammo, and you won't have that. Some places you'll have to fight with shotguns when the shotgun's not the best weapon because that's the only thing that you got ammo for. Now, obviously, the better you aim, the more ammo you're gonna have. But again, they did an amazing job. Crysis 2, same thing. The way they managed the ammo was great. You would run out of ammo, you have to try to figure it out. There's some weapons that are better against just certain enemies that you love when you have them, and then sometimes you just run out of ammo for that weapon, and you literally got to use something that's not as efficient and that you know is going to expose you. And I mean, they did an amazing job. So far, Crysis 1 and 2, amazing. Same thing, visuals great, sound is great, gameplay is great, the story in Crysis 1 good enough to get you all the way to the end. Crysis 2, same thing, good enough to get you to the end. And when you get to the end, you won't be disappointed. You're gonna want to play Crysis 3. This is the way that you do sequels, guys. This is the way that you do it. The length of the game too. I got a video on here when I talk about how long are video games, and that video games sometimes are too long. These games were like, to me, with a perfect length. Crysis 1 maybe a little bit too long, but again, it didn't feel really repetitive because by the time you were done killing humans, now you're shooting aliens, and then when you think you got that done, the bosses that you're fighting, you're just like, it was good. Crysis 2, perfect length. Anything longer, Crysis 2, because of the way the game is and how fast paced it is, because you're going to be killing a lot of people. I mean, I think it was perfect. So now, when I played Crysis 1, when I saw the reviews and everything, right, everybody said, if you got a PC, you got to play Crysis. When I played Crysis 1, my expectation was that it was going to be a very beautiful looking game, but not that good. That's what I thought, because everyone only spoke about how great the graphics were. It's a good game, okay? Played Crysis 2. Crysis 2, I don't know why people didn't like Crysis 2. Apparently people felt like it wasn't enough like Crysis 1. But I feel like the difference between the two is what makes it a good game, because you're not doing the exact same thing. Like, it would have been weird if you were stuck on another island or still on the same island. Like, now this is different. You're in New York City. There's different stuff happening. So I like that. I like that Crysis 2 was a little bit different. The bar was set high by Crysis 1 and by Crysis 2. Now I gotta play Crysis 3. So like I said, when I played Crysis 1, all I heard was that the visuals were great. So my expectations for the game itself was pretty low. So it was easy for that to be beaten. When I played Crysis 2, I didn't know what to expect. Actually, no, same thing. I had low expectations because all the reviews I saw said that the game wasn't good. Everything was talking about like, yeah, it looks nice, but they compromised to put it on console. Well, guess what? It turns out Crysis 2 is amazing. It's still a really good game. Now I'm going to play Crysis 3. I don't know what that game is like. I'm going to play it. We'll see. I know how I feel about Crysis 1, Crysis 2. So the expectations are high. But at least if they run with the same momentum, it'll be fine. And to the best of my knowledge, there's only 3 Crysis. There's not a 4th. So maybe it won't fall to the fate of Mass Effect Andromeda. Sorry if I hurt your soul, any Mass Effect fans out there. Alright. But that's pretty much all I got. Dark 1985. There's levels to this. We out. Peace.